the nation's address without honor conduct. God, mounted by the next to God and file with the regimental band in attendance. Very close Mr. President, inspection over. May I have your permission to march off the guard? Aye, Mr. President. Godfather will march off in columns of threes. Move to the left in columns of threes. Left, 10. Band. Take post.
That's a hug. United Vanderpool and then Henry Cote, the Interior Minister. Joining them is Nelson Dafiamefo, and in a very beautiful conversation that they are having in the exchanging pleasantries. So this is the Chamber of Parliament, and like I stated earlier, in your shots you're seeing the Chief of Staff, Madam Primo Sofari. You're also seeing the wife of the Vice President, Nadia Samira Bawumia, and then you're seeing the First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, and when your shots there is Adjo Asafo also, and then we have George Merikuduka exchanging some pleasantries there with the First Lady, and then the wife of the Vice President, and then the Chief of Staff too. And again, in your shots, moving at just at the other side of your eye is a conversation going on between Nilati Vanderpool, who's actually going out of Parliament, and he's not coming back into the 9th Parliament. And then, interestingly, Henry Cote, too, who's the Interior Minister, is also not coming back to Parliament because he lost his seat. Nilati did not actually contest this time around, but Henry Cote did contest, and that's I also not the Central. I also did Central, and he lost that particular seat there to the NDC. Yes. We're talking about the changes in leadership.
Yes,
there.
so you saw that part of it was that at that time, we was explained, there was a very simple argument that, well, it is going to be about the economy, let's bring the economists to the forefront. So that was the argument that was sold. But there was an argument, that was a power struggle, it was almost like a code like within there. It was about loyalties. Because it was agreed that the Honorable Montaka and Honorable Addo were not loyal or loyal enough to President Mahama. And that they also used to build their power to succeed. And that there was also another powerhouse, the chairman, Esedu Nkatie, who was also eyeing to succeed President Mahama. So if you had these dynamics going on, so if both the national chairman and the presidential candidate thinks that you, the minority leader then, you were being too powerful, you were not loyal to them, then it looks like a curbing their wings and freedom from flying.
Okay. Before we come to the majority side in their leadership, we're also live on LOM Community Radio, live in Bunkurugu there. So all those listening to us in Bunkurugu on LOM Community Radio, thank you very much for doing the listening. We are live on Unique FM 95.7, and that's taking care of the Greater Accra region and some parts of the southern parts of this country. On the shots now these are pictures of traditional leaders who are also present at the public gallery. So you have that's Ilaya Fotiabu, former member, still a member of the NDC though, and a traditional leader there representing the Ponkatamanso area there. So these are traditional leaders there in your shots at the public gallery, and all these people are present to listen to the President's final State of the Nation address, which he'll be delivering anytime soon. And these are members, of course, of the diplomatic corps also present at the public gallery. Yes, so for the majority side, we also saw the veteran, Chairman Sabonsu, making way for Alexander Penyomagi. It was a very interesting switch because with his experience, I mean, Chairman Sabonsu, the expectation was that he was going to stay.
Yes. So now, the switch in the majority side was political, pure political.
Okay.
Because remember, the NPP runs north, south, north, coast kind of arrangements. if the presidential candidate is, let's say,
speaking of the switch, I mean, you can see Osechi Mensah-Bonsu there talking to Asenso Boachi, who is the Minister for Roads and Highways. You also have Patrick Buama, and there's also the Attorney General there behind them. Adjo Asafo seated, and these are sides of the majority side. And as we speak, the president is gradually making way into the president is making way into the chamber now. We're also live on Facebook, which is Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and then GTV. So we are getting you live from all angles that you can actually think of, on television, on radio, and then, of course, on the internet. And I would say that it's the biggest coverage we're giving coming from the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. In a short time, the Speaker of Parliament, and there's also the Vice President there, followed by the President. It's an exchange of hug there coming from Adjo Asafo and then Honorable Jifa Ativo. And yes, we're talking about the majority side.
So you didn't realize that the NPP, so the moment you had His Excellency Dr. Bawumia from the North, you had his running mate, Honorable Matthew Poku from Ashanti, it became redundant to then have another Ashanti speaker. That's why they came down to the coast. They went there to give Honorable Afenyo Makin, so that you could then have the whole breadth of the country, north, south, coast, as their ticket going forward. And that was, and also remember then, Honorable Osechi Mensah was also moved to the campaign. He was playing big role. He was the chairman of the manifesto committee and one of the co-chairmen of the campaign itself. So it was also to free him and give him a chance so that he could play a bigger role in the campaign.
As the president is entered the chamber now, exchanging pleasantries. Earlier he just spoke with the former First Lady, Nana Akufo-Addo, and then the former President John Ejiofor also present there at the chamber. The president is now about to take his seat. Obviously, in that presidential seat, in your shot now is the vice president. So what we have here from my right, you have the vice president, and then there's the Speaker of Parliament who's in white, and then next to the Speaker of Parliament is the president who will take the middle seat. And then right after the president, to my left and to your right, who is watching us, is the Chief Justice, and now the national anthem.
Can we talk? Outside anthem.
On your behalf, I want to warmly welcome His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo President of the Republic of Ghana,
and the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces to the House. Before I invite him to perform a very important constitutional duty, kindly allow me to acknowledge the presence of the following people. His Excellency, the President is ably supported in the performance of this duty by His Excellency, the Vice President, His Excellency Mahmoudou Bawumia, we also have the presence of Her Lordship, the Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Tokonu, and for sure we have the presence of the spouse of His Excellency the President, Her Excellency Rebecca Akufo-Addo. And His Excellency the Vice President is with his better half, the spouse, Her Excellency Samira Bawumia. And I have with me my wife, the Left Honorable Madam Alice Ajua Yunus. Her Excellency, our leadership, the Chief Justice, is accompanied by her spouse, Mr. Francis Tokunu. We also have with us the Chief of Staff, Honorable Akusia Fema Osei.
we could not be joined by the chairperson of the Council of State, by his ably represented our own veteran
politician, lawyer, the person of Mr. Sam Okudzeto, Senior Advocate of Ghana. We have with us the evergreen former president, His Excellency John Ajekum Kufuor. It's very important on your behalf, I thank him for always being with us here in this house. He is always present anytime we have an important function in Parliament. And we are extremely grateful to you, Your Excellency. We also have another very important partner of us. She is always also ever present anytime we have an activity here. I'm referring to Her Excellency, the former First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. And we have with us here almost all members of the diplomatic corps that are here with us, and definitely you can see them at the important visitors public gallery. The heads of the various security services are all here with us, and we have a number of chiefs and queen mothers present in this house. We are blessed with the presence of our religious leaders who actually keep us healthy by always praying for us and making sure that the blessings and favor of the Almighty God remains with us forever and ever. With this, I'll now proceed to invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, to deliver his message on the state of the nation. Your Excellency, you may do so now. Honorable members, please. This is a very important occasion, and you are in the house we refer to as August House, House of Honor and Dignity. We expect nothing apart from honorable behavior from you, and please, let's listen to His Excellency in absolute silence. I thank all of you for your compliance.
Mr. Speaker, as my constitutionally mandated period as President of our country nears its very end, I come before this august House to perform my last official public duty. I'm grateful for the opportunity to give an accounting of my time in office, spell out the highlights of the state of our nation, and place on record the Ghana I'm handing over to my successor. In accordance with protocol and convention, it is good to see that my wife, First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo, Vice President Mahamadou Bawumia, Second Lady Samira Bawumia, Jonas Bagbin, Chief Justice Gertrude Tokunu and spouse, and justices of the Supreme Court, the representative of the chairperson, Mr. Sam Okujeto, and members of the Council of State, Chief of Staff at the Office of the President, the Honorable Akosua Frima Oseo Parry, and officials of the Presidency, Secretary to the Cabinet, Ambassador Mercy Deborah Karakari, Chief of Defense Staff of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Thomas Opong Pipra, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Addo, and the various service chiefs are all present. The Speaker, the House is also duly honored by the welcome attendance of the former President of the Republic, John Ajikun Kufuor, former First Lady Nana Konadu Anjuman-Rawlings, and the Dean and members of the Diplomatic Corps. Mr. Speaker, before I commence my message on the state of the nation, I want to put on record that I am deeply saddened by the devastating fire at Kantamanto Market, which took place yesterday, and has left many traders and their livelihoods in ruins. My thoughts and prayers are with those affected, and I extend heartfelt sympathies to the hard-working traders who have lost their goods and investments. Government stands with you and will work with relevant agencies to ascertain the causes of the fire and to provide the needed support. As a nation, let us unite in compassion and solidarity to help those who have suffered losses. Together, we can extend a helping hand to our fellow Ghanaians in need during this challenging time. Mr. Speaker, it is important to state at the outset that serving the Ghanaian people as president has been the greatest honor of my life. It has been one of great challenges and even greater triumphs, one that has demanded every ounce of my energy, commitment, and love for our beloved country. My vision has always been to see a Ghana that is self-reliant, prosperous, and united, a beacon of hope, democracy, and opportunity in Africa and beyond. That vision remains undimmed, and I'm confident that the strides we have made together will propel Ghana to even greater heights. Mr. Speaker, the first responsibility of a government is the safety and security of the state and its people. I'm happy to report that our country's territorial integrity is intact and all our borders are secure. In a neighborhood of widespread instability, it is no longer an assumption that we can make, but our land will be safe and secure. Ghana, by the grace of God, remains the only country in the neighborhood that has not fallen victim to terrorist violence. It has taken a lot of concerted effort, and dare I say a lot of money, to enable us to protect our country from the ravages of the variety of terrorist groups operating and destabilizing other countries in the neighborhood. I wish to pay great homage to the security services and their ministerial leaders for the work they do every day to keep us safe. Mr. Speaker, it gives me no great pleasure to state that an important and integral part of the fabric of our society and the hallmark of our traditions, chieftaincy, continues to be a source of insecurity and destabilization. Upon coming into office, we worked hard with considerable assistance from the Committee of Eminent Chiefs, Otumfuo Asantehene, the Nairi, and the Yabonra, to bring finally a resolution to the conflict which had blighted the ancient kingdom of Gabon for many, many years. Bringing peace to Gabon remains one of the high watermarks of my time in office, and I had been so looking forward to counting it with pride as the top of the list in resolving chieftaincy disputes and conflicts. Unfortunately, the sad situation in Boko must necessarily dampen any enthusiasm about the resolution of chieftaincy problems elsewhere. It is a matter of great regret and distress to me personally that in spite of our best efforts, the Boko conflict remains unresolved. Boko is unhappily not the only area of chieftaincy conflict. And judging from the experience of other parts of the country, I will have to mark chieftaincy as a growing source of insecurity that will continue to require a lot of attention. It is clear that part of that process is the need to strengthen the capacities of the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs and the Peace Council, the two frontline institutions responsible for dealing with chieftaincy and other disputes. Mr. Speaker, in my inaugural speech at my swearing in my first term on 7th January 2017, and early on in that term, I made a public commitment to tackle galamsey, the phenomenon that had been ravaging our environment and destroying our lands and water bodies in the pursuit of mining our gold. I knew and was very much aware that fighting galamsey was not a universally popular position for a president to take. But I felt strongly enough about the need to protect our environment to say I was prepared to put my presidency on the line in the defense of our lands and water bodies. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, the fight against galamsey led directly to the loss by my party of several parliamentary seats in the 2020 elections, and to the makeup of this 8th Parliament, which affected the implementation of my policy agenda and impacted the second term of my presidency. I welcome the many loud converts to the fight against galamsey that suddenly appeared in the run-up to the 2024 elections. And I pray that more and more of us get to embrace the need for the protection of our lands and water bodies. As I have stated on numerous occasions, the fight against galamsey is not a fight against mining or the extraction of the gold the Almighty has so generously endowed us with. But we owe it to future generations of Ghanaians to extract our minerals in a manner that protects our lands and water bodies. I'm happy to be able to say that we have implemented some of the boldest and most progressive policies in the mining, forestry, and land sectors. As a result of these policies, we overtook South Africa as the leading producer of gold on the continent and have consistently increased gold production to reach an unprecedented 4 million ounces last year. Not only have we revamped dormant mines like the Obuasi and Bibiani mines, we have also worked to deliver the Cardinal Namdi mine, the first large-scale mine in northern Ghana, and the first greenfield gold mines in our country in more than a decade, with the ongoing construction of new mines in Ahafo by Newmont and Upper West by Azuma Resources. To add value to these volumes of minerals, we have constructed, through a public-private partnership, a 400-kilogram capacity gold refinery here in our country. We have also concluded discussions with the parent company of Ghana Manganese Company Limited for the construction of a $450 million United States dollars manganese refinery at Nsuta. Moreover, the establishment of the Ghana Integrated Aluminum Development Corporation and the Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation has laid the groundwork for the industrialization of many of our natural resources. These entities are expected to generate significant revenue, create jobs, and enhance the value addition of our natural wealth. Each of these initiatives was guided by the vision to harness Ghana's wealth for the benefit of her people, ensuring a legacy of sustainable development for future generations. We continue to work to increase the forest estate of our country. Under the Ghana Forest Plantation Strategy, some 121,000 hectares of degraded forests were cultivated between 2017 and 2023. And under the Green Ghana Project, over 52 million trees have been planted in just 4 years of its implementation. In 2023, Ghana became the second country in Africa and the third in the world to receive results-based payments from the World Bank Carbon Fund for reducing emissions. Under the Ghana Cocoa Red Plus program, we've also completed all the necessary steps under the Voluntary Partnership Agreement with the European Union. And effective June this year, Ghana will become the first African country and the second globally to issue forest law enforcement, government, and trade licenses. If arguments still rage over what there is to show for the fight against galamsey and the effects of irresponsible mining, there can be no such arguments about the introduction of the free SHS and free TVET programs. Another policy that did not have universal approval when I sought to introduce it on coming into office. However, I believe this is one of the rare occasions on which we can use the word transformational without any danger of abusing the word. We have transformed education, and there can never be a reversal, of the fact that some 5.7 million young people have gained access to secondary education who would otherwise not have had the opportunity but for free SHS and free TVET. Indeed, my administration has also prioritized technical and vocational education and training, TVET, establishing 34 new TVET institutions and upgrading 62 existing ones to equip our youth with 21st century skills. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud that we were brave enough to have started the free SHS policy at the beginning of my first term and resisted the calls for a gradual introduction. I'm glad that we've removed from the Ghanaian mindset the belief that secondary school education is only for people from certain households and families. From 2020, when the first cohort of free senior high school candidates sat for the WACC, Ghana has consistently recorded over 50% of candidates scoring A1 to C6 in all 4 core subjects. This marks a stark improvement compared to the years prior, particularly the period when pass rates in core subjects were largely below 50%. This year's results, the 2024 results, have maintained the laudable trend from 2020. Indeed, only 51.6% of candidates achieved A1 to C6 in English in 2016, compared to a much higher 69.52% in 2024. For integrated science, the pass rate improved from 48.35% in 2016 to 58.77% in 2024. Mathematics demonstrated the most dramatic progress, rising from a mere 33.12% pass rate in 2016 to an impressive 66.86% in 2024. Social studies followed a similar trend, improving from 54.55% in 2016 to 71.53% in 2024. Moreover, the 2023 WACC results stand out as the best in the history of the examination. No amount of shouts will displace data. It will not happen. The data is there. as the best in the history of the examination, with record-breaking performances across all core subjects. It is obvious then that our reforms have not only expanded access, but have also enhanced the quality of education. I am glad that we have led to where they properly belong, and that they will no longer be seen as the option for those who cannot make the top grade. We have embarked on the development of 20 STEM centers and 10 model STEM senior high schools across the nation, and also constructed 186 new science laboratories nationwide. The other day, I commissioned the Accra STEM Academy, which is destined to play a key role in the future of STEM education in our country. These institutions are designed to provide hands-on learning experiences with cutting-edge facilities. From coding to robotics, our students are being prepared for the demands of the 21st century. It has not been without challenges, but the results are evident. I'm delighted with the infrastructure transformation that has taken place on our school and university campuses. This was displayed in a dramatic fashion a few weeks ago when the Ministry of Education staged the simultaneous commissioning of 80 new educational facilities across the nation. I do not suggest that we have finished what we set out to do, but we have certainly established what a kindergarten is supposed to be like. We've established what a primary school should be like. We've set standards for what constitutes a JHS. Science laboratories are now integral parts of junior and senior high schools, and computer tablets are available for all school children. Mr. Speaker, now we know and accept that a public school building can be painted in beautiful and attractive colors. Mr. Speaker, we have aimed to make the learning and teaching atmosphere a happy one for all school children and their teachers. We spend a lot of resources on education in the past 8 years, and I'm persuaded that it is money well spent, and the long-lasting benefits for our society will provide the justification for the expenditure. Mr. Speaker, it is impossible to make any meaningful accounting of my time in office without reference to the COVID pandemic. With the passage of time, it is easy to play down the extent of the catastrophe that brought our world to a thundering halt and brought wild animals to lounge on highways. Do we remember that airports around the world were closed, and some 2 years after the formal end of the pandemic, worldwide shipping and cargo freight have not returned to normal? Schools were closed around the world, and it took courage to reopen our schools. And there are parts of the world that have not yet made up for the closure of schools necessitated by the pandemic. Probably, Mr. Speaker, the most poignant aspect of those times was not the fear that gripped us all, but the fact that we were unable to hold hands or hug each other, and we could not have funerals for our dead. It is worth emphasizing the point that with the help of the Ghanaian people and the guidance of the Almighty, we managed the pandemic in our country to the admiration of the whole world. Indeed, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Ghana emerged as a leader in Africa, managing the crisis with a balanced approach that prioritized lives and livelihoods. We were among the first countries on the continent to secure vaccines and roll out a comprehensive vaccination program. The establishment of our own vaccine manufacturing facility under the supervision of the National Vaccine Institute, a body created by Act of Parliament in collaboration with international partners, is a testament to our resolve to build resilience in our healthcare system. In the spirit of transparency and accountability, A parliamentary audit was conducted on the accounts relating to COVID-19 expenditures, reflecting my government's attachment to accountability and the effective stewardship of public resources during a time of crisis. However, the consequences of the COVID-19 upheavals on all aspects of our lives have gone way beyond what anyone could have imagined, and we're still dealing with the effects on the economy. But let me first deal briefly with the effects on the health sector. This pandemic showed us some of the alarming shortcomings of our health delivery system, and we have strived to seek remedies to ensure that we're reasonably prepared to meet the next emergencies. The most important intervention is the Agenda 111 project we have embarked upon that aims to place a hospital in every district. Out of the 101 district hospitals and 2 psychiatric hospitals on the project list, there are 99 district and 2 psychiatric hospitals where contractors are deployed and work is in progress. I had hoped that construction would be completed on all of them, but that, alas, was not to be. I'm pleased to report that on December 5th, I had the utmost pleasure to commission 3 of the district hospitals. Progress of works on the other 98 active sites range from 5% for sites whose work commenced recently to 95% at other sites. I'm hoping that the incoming Mahama administration will ensure that the project is completed to put our health infrastructure on a sound footing. Furthermore, we launched the National Ambulance Services Revitalization Program, increasing the number of ambulances from 55 barely functioning ambulances to over 300, ensuring timely emergency response and saving countless lives. The strides in healthcare reflect our collective commitment to build a system that prioritizes the dignity, health, and well-being of every Ghanaian. Furthermore, we've revived the National Health Insurance Scheme, which at one point before I came into office appeared to be reverting to the days of cash and carry. The number of subscribers has risen from 10.6 million in 2016 to 17.9 million at the end of 2023. With the renewal of subscriptions being facilitated by a tap on the mobile phone and the scope of the scheme being broadened to include treatment for sickle cell disease, kidney dialysis, and childhood cancers. Mr. Speaker, our economy took a bigger hit from the COVID-19 pandemic and ensuing consequences than had been anticipated. And in 2021 and 2022, we were in unaccustomed trouble. Our economy, which in my first term had been widely acknowledged to have performed creditably, marked by the longest period of single-digit inflation, 7% average GDP real growth rate, and strong external balances, was on its knees. The government's difficulties in Parliament, with the slimmest of majorities, gave the impetus to the international rating agencies to trash us on their assumption that we would struggle to get financial policy measures passed through the legislature. We faced the problems we encountered with equanimity, took a deep breath, and decided to apply for an IMF-supported program, dubbed Post-COVID-19 Program for Economic Growth, PCPEG, in the middle of 2023. The implementation of the program so far has gone well, even as it has been challenging. We have passed successfully through 3 successive reviews of program implementation by the IMF board, with the most recent review approved on 2nd December 2024, leading to the disbursement of $360 million United States dollars. The fund has therefore disbursed a cumulative $1.9.2 billion United States dollars to date. At the moment, I'm able to say with confidence that the crisis is over, that the economy has recovered strongly and faster than projected. In order for me to be able to make this assertion, I must make reference to the debt restructuring exercise. It affected many bondholders and was one of the most challenging decisions my administration had to undertake. It was not a choice made lightly, as we were acutely aware of the personal and financial hardships it would impose on individuals, families, and institutions across the country. Many citizens had invested their hard-earned savings, and we fully understood the pain and sacrifices this exercise demanded. However, it became evident that without such bold and decisive action, our economy would have faced an even greater crisis with far-reaching consequences for every Ghanaian. This restructuring was essential to address unsustainable debt levels and to create the fiscal space needed to stabilize the economy and lay the groundwork for future growth. It was critical in ensuring that Ghana could meet her financial obligations, regain the confidence of international and domestic investors, and restore our economic credibility. Through the resilience and understanding of the Ghanaian people, coupled with the strategic measures we implemented, we have been able to chart a path towards the recovery that is underway. Today, we're witnessing the positive outcomes of the painful but yet necessary exercise. The economy is rebounding strongly. Our fiscal position is more stable, and our debt sustainability has significantly improved. These developments have provided a solid foundation for sustained growth and development, ensuring that the sacrifices made by bondholders and other stakeholders will not be in vain, but rather the basis of Ghana's economic revival. Mr. Speaker, the country is not broke, as some propagandists want us to believe. We're handing over the country with gross international reserves of almost $8 billion United States dollars. This is more than the $6.2 billion United States dollars of gross international reserves my administration inherited in 2017. Economic growth. The noise will not shut out the statistics. And I intend to put the statistics on the record of Hansard, no matter the amount of noise. Mr. Speaker, economic growth. Honorable members, the level of interruption is high. Please, honorable members. His Excellency the President is not out of order. Please. Honorable members, your statistics might be different from his, but
That doesn't mean he's misleading the House. He is in order. Please, Your Excellency, continue.
Mr. Speaker, the statistics cannot be different. There's only one set of statistics that there is. It cannot be different. Your Excellency, truth is indivisible. Truth is indivisible. It's one and one only.
Your Excellency,
thank you very much.
As an accomplished member of Parliament, you are out of order.
Mr. Speaker, economic growth has also returned to the pre-COVID trajectory with an impressive growth rate rising from 4.8% in the first quarter of 2024, 7% in the second quarter, and 7.2% in the third quarter. It is projected that this year's growth rate will be 6.3%, significantly higher than the 3.4% my administration inherited in 2017. The growth of the economy is further reflected in the growth of private sector credit. Private sector credit in nominal terms grew by 28.87% in October 2024, compared to the negative 7.5% growth recorded in the same comparative period of 2023. In real terms, growth in credit to the private sector improved to 5.5% compared to a contraction of 31.6% recorded in October 2023. It is further reinforced by improved external balances, with the current account balancing improving significantly to a surplus of 2.6% of GDP in the first 9 months of the year, compared to a deficit of 6.6% of GDP in 2016. In much the same way, the trade balance has improved. It stands at a surplus of 3.85 billion United States dollars, compared with a deficit of 1.8 billion United States dollars in 2016. Headline inflation, which stood at 23% in November, is still very high, but this is coming down from 54% recorded in December 2022, following the effects of COVID-19 and other global economic pressures. Encouragingly, food prices have also begun to decline, bringing some relief to households and contributing to a reduction in the overall cost of living. Government has implemented significant measures to address the hardships that accompanied the economic difficulties. These include increased budgetary allocations towards the school feeding program, the capitation grant, the National Health Insurance Scheme, and the Livelihood Empowered Against Poverty program, LEAP. The stock of public and publicly guaranteed debt increased during the economic difficulties. However, the government is servicing its debts, honoring coupon payments for both domestic bonds and Euro bonds. Moreover, the debt levels are reducing, recording a significant reduction in the debt stock by 46.8 billion Ghana cedis to 761.0 billion Ghana cedis in October 2024, from 807.9 billion Ghana cedis in September 2024. The public debt to GDP ratio, therefore, reduced from 79.2% in September 2024 to 74.6% in October 2024. This is expected to reduce further to 55% of GDP in net present value terms, a level that restores Ghana's debt sustainability. It is hoped that the new government will continue with the policies being implemented to achieve the debt sustainability target. I'm happy to inform the House that today, 3rd January 2025, my government will honor coupon payments to our Eurobond holders amounting to $346 million United States dollars. We cannot afford to default on our debt repayments. That's advice that I want to give to the incoming finance minister. These achievements demonstrate our firm commitment to the policies, structural reforms, and program objectives and targets under the program. Let me at this juncture state unequivocally that the banking sector cleanup undertaken by my administration was an act of necessity, not of vendetta. It was a bold and decisive intervention to safeguard the strength and integrity of Ghana's financial system. The illegalities and irregularities perpetuated by the affected banks and financial institutions are well documented and indisputable. These practices threaten the very foundation of our banking sector and jeopardize the hard-earned savings of millions of Ghanaians. Our actions ensure that not a single depositor lost their money, an unprecedented achievement in financial crisis management. Today, the results are there for all to see. A more robust, stable, and resilient banking sector capable of driving economic growth and supporting the aspirations of our people. It was a necessary decision to restore public confidence and secure the future of Ghana's financial sector. Mr. Speaker, my government recognized at the very outset that the fight against corruption required more than rhetoric. It demanded systemic, sustained, and strategic action. To this end, my government initiated a holistic program of legislative, administrative, financial, and technological reforms. Indeed, one of my most satisfactory moments as president was when we established the Office of the Special Prosecutor. For me, this was not just another government office. It was, and still is, a symbol of our determination to tackle corruption head-on. I wanted Ghanaians to know that no one, no matter their rank or status, would be above the law. Its creation was initially met with considerable skepticism in some quarters, but I believe now that there is general consensus that has been an important contributor to our anti-corruption efforts. During my first term, we passed the Witness Protection Act in 2018, creating a framework to safeguard individuals who cooperate with law enforcement, especially in corruption cases. Furthermore, the Criminal Offences Amendment Act 2020 elevated corruption from a misdemeanor to a felony, with harsher penalties of 12 to 25 years of imprisonment. We also enacted key laws, such as the Fiscal Responsibility Act, the Revenue Administration Amendment Act, and the Anti-Money Laundering Act, all of which have strengthened our institutional framework to combat corruption and ensure accountability. We ensured that all allegations of corruption leveled against appointees were duly investigated by independent institutions of state, which generally dismiss them as unfounded. Budgetary support for accountability institutions has also witnessed unprecedented increases. For instance, from 2017 to 2023, SHRA's budget increased by 99%, Parliament's by 100%, the Office of the Attorney General by 162%, the Audit Service by 258%, and the police by 274%. These investments reflect my administration's commitment to empowering these institutions to discharge their mandates effectively, which means that the tools needed to exact accountability from all public office holders, including those of my own government, have been considerably sharpened. The application of these tools, whilst respecting as it should due process and the rule of law, however, should pose no problem, no fears for any honest public office holder. I remember the early days of these reforms when skepticism abounded. People asked, will this really make a difference? Today, the numbers speak for themselves. The Auditor General's report for 2023 showed a reduction of 5.2 billion cedis in financial irregularities, a 32% drop from the previous year. I speak, you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. I've just explained to you from the previous year. I just said so. Listen, open your ears and listen to me. Mr. Speaker, my government has undertaken impressive reforms to strengthen Ghana's judiciary, enhancing both capacity and accessibility. Key achievements include addressing court infrastructure challenges with the construction of 100 courthouses, 90 of which have been completed and are operational, making it the biggest single infrastructural intervention for the judiciary in our nation's history. The establishment of the Court of Appeal complex in Kumasi, along with 20 townhouses and a guest house for justices in the northern sector, now enables appeals from 11 regions to be handled locally, reducing delays in justice delivery. Additionally, the implementation of the e-justice system has digitized case management and streamlined processes, solidifying the judiciary's role as a bulwark of Ghana's democracy and development. Moreover, the Law House, a modern facility for the Office of the Attorney General, has now been completed. Mr. Speaker,
Let's have some order and let's continue with the business. Your Excellency, you may do so now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Apologize for that. Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, infrastructure development has been a cornerstone of this administration. The construction and rehabilitation of over 12,000 kilometers of roads have improved connectivity and reduced travel times. These projects have not only facilitated trade, but also enhanced access to essential services. It is fitting, therefore, to acknowledge that this administration has constructed more roads and interchanges than any other in our nation's history. In the Greater Accra region alone, we have completed the Pokwase Interchange, Tema Motorway Interchange Phase 1, Obechebi Lamte Interchange Phase 1, the East Legon Underpass, and recently, the Flower Pot Interchange. Beyond Accra, we have also delivered the first ever interchanges in the Eastern region at Sohum and in the Northern region at Tamale. Each of these projects tells a story of commitment, foresight, and a Ghana that is continuously moving forward. There are 14 additional interchanges currently underway across Ghana, each at different stages of completion. In Greater Accra, we're building interchanges at Obetemi Lamte Interchange Phase 2, Nungwa, Ajingrano, Bombaria, Pram Pram, Dawenya, Savannah, and Tema Motorway Phase 2. In the Ashanti region, ongoing projects include the Swami Interchange Phase 1, Anumanje, Makro, Magazine New Road, Ebusuakura and Abrepo, as well as the PTC interchange in Takoradi in the Western region. These projects represent the scale of our ambition, a commitment to excellence and growth that knows no limits. Mr. Speaker, in aviation, we have expanded airports, including the construction of the Yakubu Tale International Airport in Tamale, the Prempeh I International Airport in Kumasi, the rehabilitation of the Sunyani Airport in Sunyani, and the completion of the Ho Airport in Ho. These projects position Ghana as a hub for regional air travel. Mr. Speaker, over the past 7 years, we have revitalized Ghana's railway sector, undertaking key projects to modernize and expand the network. Notable achievements include the rehabilitation of the 66-kilometer narrow-gauge Western Line from Kojokrom to Takwa, the construction of a 22-kilometer standard-gauge line between Kojokrom and Manso, and securing funding to extend the Western Line from Manso to Huni Valley, connecting to the port of Takoradi. Additionally, a 6-kilometer standard-gauge line in Kumasi is underway, and the Tema Mpakadan line has been completed. Progress of the Ghana-Burkina Faso Railway project further underscores efforts to enhance regional trade and integration. Mr. Speaker, we have made some good strides in improving the housing sector. Over the period, we built 1,070 affordable houses and broke ground for an additional 800 in the Greater Accra region. We've also established the National Home Ownership Fund, which is delivering 534 homes in Tema Community 22. We delivered the 1,000 homes to the security services and are delivering 600 homes for public servants through the Bungalow Redevelopment Program. Mr. Speaker, the transport sector has also seen the deployment of electric buses in major cities, reducing carbon emissions and aligning with our climate change commitments. These advancements signal Ghana's commitment to building a sustainable transport infrastructure for the future. Behind every completed road and bridge is the story of lives transformed, farmers reaching markets, students accessing schools, and families connected. Mr. Speaker, My government has prioritized the modernization of Ghana's maritime infrastructure, with the Takoradi Harbor standing as a shining example of this commitment. The port has been transformed into a world-class facility, enhancing its capacity to meet the demands of modern trade and of the oil and gas industry. In November 2024, I commissioned the state-of-the-art oil and gas services terminal, a $100 million investment, which serves as a hub for oil field operators, logistics service providers, and other key players in the energy sector. Additionally, I launched a dry bulk terminal and the Atlantic Services Container Terminal, diversifying the port's capabilities and solidifying its role as a critical player in regional and international commerce. We have also begun the processes for the construction of another modern port at Kita. These efforts are positioning Ghana as a leading logistics and shipping hub in Africa, creating jobs, boosting investor confidence, and ensuring sustainable economic growth for our nation. Mr. Speaker, agriculture remains the backbone of our economy, and our investments in this sector have been transformative. Through the distribution of over 2.7 million bags of fertilizers and improved seedlings, we have increased crop yields and enhanced food security. For example, maize production increased by 110%, rice by 48%, and soybean by 150% between 2017 and 2023. The establishment of 140 agricultural mechanization centers and the rehabilitation of irrigation schemes have modernized farming practices and reduced dependence on rain-fed agriculture. The establishment of warehouse facilities under the One District, One House initiative has also helped reduce post-harvest losses by 30%. The net effect of these policies is that our agricultural GDP growth rate rose significantly from 2.7% in 2016 to an average of 5.7% in 2023. Our cocoa sector has also witnessed remarkable improvements, with productivity increasing from an average of 450 kilograms per hectare to 800 kilograms per hectare, making Ghana a leader in sustainable cocoa production. The living income differential policy, a policy agreed to by President Alassane Ouattara of Côte d'Ivoire and myself, under the aegis of the Strategic Partnership Agreement between our two countries, which is a fixed premium of 400 United States dollars per ton, added to the selling price of cocoa beans, irrespective of fluctuations in market prices, ensure that our hard-working cocoa farmers receive a fairer share of the global value chain, indeed, receiving the highest prices in the history of the cocoa industry in Ghana. We were told by the minority leader on the campaign trail and in the presence of the now president-elect that my successor will increase the price per bag of cocoa from the current 3,100 cedis to 6,000 cedis. Our farmers will be very happy when this pledge is realized. In the fisheries sector, Mr. Speaker, the construction of 12 landing sites and cold storage facilities across the coastal regions, along with the commissioning of the Jamestown Fishing Harbor and the Almina Fishing Harbor, has improved livelihoods and reduced post-harvest losses. These interventions have significantly boosted the incomes of our fisher folk and contributed to the sustainability of our marine resources. We have also enforced measures to combat illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, protecting our marine biodiversity for future generations, and proving the doubting Thomas wrong about our commitment to transforming the fisheries industry. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has made significant progress in expanding electricity access, with the electricity access rate increased to 88.85%, up from the 79.3% I inherited. In renewable energy, completed projects such as the 4-megawatt floating solar PV at Bui and a 15-megawatt solar PV at Kaleo, together with a 100-megawatt solar PV under construction at Bui and a mini-grid electrification program in Ada East, have advanced efforts to reach the 10% renewable energy target by 2030. Mr. Speaker, it is worth emphasizing that I inherited a nation plagued by doomsday, but I'm very happy to say that I leave office with the lights on. This achievement did not come without its challenges. When my administration assumed office, we inherited an energy sector legacy debt of $2.5 billion United States dollars. The Energy Sector Recovery Program, developed by government and the World Bank, projected that this debt would balloon to a staggering $12.5 billion United States dollars within 5 years if no decisive actions were taken. We knew that such a scenario would cripple the sector, undermine investor confidence, and plunge the nation back into darkness. Mr. Speaker, we got to work immediately. Through tough negotiations with independent power producers, prudent financial management, and targeted interventions, we've been able to stabilize the sector while keeping the lights on. I'm pleased to report that we've kept the energy sector legacy debt to $2.5 billion, the same level we inherited, and have averted the $12.5 billion debt scenario, despite the rising costs of energy production and the global economic challenges that have unfolded during my tenure. The energy sector has been truly transformed, and I'm leaving office confident that the foundations we have laid will serve this nation well for generations to come. Mr. Speaker, one of the most notable milestones of my administration has been the creation of 6 new regions: Western North, Ahafo, Bono East, Oti, Northeast, and Savannah. This historic achievement responded to decades of passionate advocacy by local communities for a governance structure that brings development closer to the people. Today, these regions stand as evidence of our commitment to equitable development, with enhanced access to public services, infrastructure, and economic opportunities for millions of Ghanaians. Additionally, my administration championed a bold vision for local governance by advocating for the election of Metropolitan, Municipal, and District Chief Executives, MMDCEs. Though the process was unfortunately aborted, I remain hopeful that in the not-too-distant future, this vision will become a reality. Such a reform would deepen democratic accountability and empower citizens to shape their local governance directly, ensuring that Ghana's democracy continues to grow stronger and more inclusive. Mr. Speaker, the youth are the heartbeat of our nation, and we have implemented programs to empower them. From the National Youth Authority reforms to sports infrastructure development, we've ensured that young Ghanaians have the tools and opportunities to thrive. The construction of some 150 AstroTurf pitches across the country and the rehabilitation of existing stadia have bolstered Ghana's standing as a hub for international sports, including hosting successfully despite all odds, the 2023 All-Africa Games. Creating an entrepreneurial climate has been a cornerstone of my administration's vision for empowering Ghana's youth. From the establishment of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Programs, NEIP, in 2017, with a $10 million United States dollar seed fund, to the transformative Greenhouse Estate Project and Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center in 2020. We have supported 15,000 startups, trained 250,000 young entrepreneurs, and created over 100,000 jobs. Initiatives being implemented by the Ghana Enterprises Agency in tourism. The year of return in 2019 and beyond the return initiatives attracted over 1.5 million visitors. These campaigns not only boosted our economy, but also strengthened ties with the African diaspora, positioning Ghana as a premier destination for cultural heritage and investment. The establishment of ecotourism sites and cultural heritage projects has further diversified our tourism offerings, attracting global attention. One of the significant undertakings in this sector has been the renovation of the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum. This celebrated site, dedicated to the memory of our first President Kwame Nkrumah, has been transformed into a world-class facility that honors his legacy and attracts visitors from around the globe. The renovations include modernized exhibits, improved infrastructure, and enhanced visitor experiences, ensuring that the mausoleum remains a symbol of Ghana's rich history and a source of inspiration for generations to come. As visitors walk through the mausoleum, they are reminded of the sacrifices and vision that built the foundations of our nation. The Nationalism Park, which I recently commissioned, and which commemorates other important personalities in our independence struggle, like Nii Kwabena Boni, Usuala Tamanche, and the legendary 3X servicemen of the 1948 Christiansborg Crossroads shooting fame, Sergeant Ajete, Corporal Achipo, and Private Odate Lamte, has also been added to this development, as will be the proposed Heroes Park, whose sword I cut recently, and whose purpose will be to celebrate the legendary Big Six of UGCC fame and other great figures of our path to freedom. Mr. Speaker, our security forces have been equipped with modern tools and training to safeguard the nation. The establishment of forward operating bases, such as the one I commissioned some 2 weeks ago in Ezinlibo, in the Western region, the Barracks Regeneration Project, the equipping of the military and police, with the police receiving helicopters for the first time in our nation's history, the acquisition of advanced surveillance systems and recruitment of over 10,000 police officers have enhanced our capability to combat threats and maintain peace. The successes of our anti-terrorism programs and cross-border security initiatives reflect our commitment to national and regional safety. In line with our commitment to aligning with international military norms and enhancing the authority of our top military officials, I'm pleased, as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, to announce the elevation of the Chief of the Defense Staff, CDS, to the rank of General, and the Chiefs of Staff, the Chiefs of Army Staff, Navy Staff, Air Force, and the Chief of Staff at the General Headquarters to the rank of Lieutenant General or its equivalent. These promotions, alongside our successes in anti-terrorism programs and cross-border security initiatives, position Ghana as a serious player in defense, and bolster our international partnerships in peacekeeping and security. In communications, the digitization of public services, including the Ghana card, mobile money interoperability, and e-services, has transformed service delivery and improved transparency. These initiatives have positioned Ghana as a leader in digital transformation on the continent, with over 18 million Ghanaians enrolled in the National Identification System. The expansion of broadband connectivity to rural areas has bridged the digital divide, ensuring inclusive access to the opportunities of the digital economy. Citizens' ability to engage with technology is a testament to our shared belief in progress and innovation. Mr. Speaker, we have tried to make real many of the slogans that have dominated our public discourse since independence. I'm proud to have approved visa-free travel to Ghana for all African passport holders with effect from the beginning of this year. This is the logical next step to the African Continental Free Trade Area and the workings of the largest in the world. All these are essential elements to the realization of the AU's Agenda 2063, which envisages an integrated and connected Africa by 2063. Mr. Speaker, I'm thrilled to state that under my leadership, Ghana has made significant strides in foreign policy, cementing our place as a respected voice on the African and global stage. It was during my tenure that Accra was unanimously chosen by the authority of heads of state and government of the African Union to host the Secretariat of the AFCFTA, a crucial phase in Africa's journey towards economic integration. We also secured Accra as hostess of the Climate Vulnerable Forum Secretariat, a grouping of 56 countries, reaffirming Ghana's commitment to leading the fight against climate change for vulnerable nations. As chair of ECOWAS for 2 successive terms, I had the privilege of guiding our region through challenges of political instability and economic recovery. Furthermore, Ghana secured a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for 2 years, allowing us to contribute meaningfully to global peace and security at a time of unparalleled changes. Indeed, it was Ghana that led the Security Council to adopt Security Council Resolution 2667, which provides for the United Nations to pay from assessed contributions 75% of expenses of UN peacekeeping operations in Africa, a matter that had been in controversy and unresolved for several years. Additionally, Ghana witnessed a moment of immense pride when Shirley Ayoko Botchwey, a distinguished Ghanaian, was elected as Secretary General of the Commonwealth. The first time a Ghanaian and an African woman has held this esteemed position. I hope the House will join me to extend hearty congratulations to our Foreign Minister, Honorable Shirley Ayoko Botchwey. It is a prestigious position, and I'm sure she'll be a successful Secretary General and bring honor to Ghana. Another feather in the cap of Ghana's recent foreign policy has been the attainment this year of full membership of l'Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie, OIF, of which we have been an associate member for some 18 years. Our country, one of the few to be full members of both the Commonwealth of Nations and La Francophonie, has the opportunity to play a constructive role as a bridge between the Anglophone and Francophone worlds, particularly in Africa, enhancing our influence. These milestones reflect my administration's dedication to advancing Ghana's interests and strengthening our standing in the international community. Mr. Speaker, there is a subject that continues to attract a lot of public discussion, and that is the call by some for a review of the 1992 Constitution, under which we have operated in this Fourth Republic for the past 32 years. Mr. Speaker, there is no perfect constitution anywhere in the world. And with all its shortcomings, I would say that this constitution has served us well. It has provided the platform for the longest period of uninterrupted, stable, constitutional democratic governance in our history. A constitution does not cure the irritations of the democratic process. There's no constitution that will satisfy the desires of those who do not believe in the democratic process. I would suggest that in the approach to the calls for a constitutional review, we should be guided by the old saying, festine lente, the Latin adage for hasten slowly. In this spirit, I'll be forwarding the document prepared and submitted to me by the Constitution Review Consultative Committee on proposals for the review of the Constitution, along with the concerns and suggestions raised, to the President-elect for his consideration as he prepares to assume the responsibilities of leadership. Mr. Speaker, elections are the main planks of the democratic structure. We've just had the 9th set of elections since 1992. The losing presidential candidate called the winner to congratulate him and made a public concession 14 hours after the close of polls, which it is widely agreed were conducted in a competent, free, and fair manner. I doubt there are many such examples anywhere in the world. Yes, we should condemn the outbreaks of violence that followed and the assumption some had that because a presidential candidate had conceded defeat, the winning party should feel emboldened to cause mayhem. It appeared at one stage that the outbursts of violence would overwhelm the police, who, in my view, need to re-examine rapidly their methods for containing such incidents in the future. I say so without prejudice to the excellent job they did in supervising the electoral process itself. I'm hoping that we will soon reach the stage where the unnecessary tensions that are simulated to accompany our elections will disappear, and elections will become simply something that we do, and do without a fuss and with flair. The efficient, praiseworthy manner in which the Jean Mensa-led Electoral Commission has conducted the past two elections of 2020 and 2024, despite their challenges, is a significant contribution to this end. Mr. Speaker, I would like to take the opportunity of this august podium to congratulate again my friend with whom I came into Parliament together for the first time in 1997, President-elect John Mahani Mahama. On his historic comeback victory of 7th December 2022. Assure him of my support and that of all well-meaning Ghanaians, and wish him well in his second term as President of the Republic. I take the opportunity also to congratulate Dr. Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, the Vice President-elect, the first woman to occupy that status in our history. Mr. Speaker, you and I have made history of a kind these past 4 years, and I must acknowledge the role you played in keeping steady the ship of state and the governance structures of our country. This was the first time The executive has to deal with not just a parliament with the slimmest of majorities, but with a speaker from the opposition party. Mr. Speaker, we found a way to accommodate each other, and the government functioned successfully. I thank you. Mr. Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity also to express my gratitude to the Council of State under the chairmanship of its highly respected traditional ruler, Nana Otuosubo II Dramini, for the great help it has given me in helping to steer the ship of state to a successful end. Nana and the members of the Council, I thank you very much for your invaluable counsel. Mr. Speaker, as I prepare to leave office on 7 January 2025, I do so with immense gratitude for the trust and confidence the people of Ghana has placed in me over the last 8 years. It has been the highest privilege of my life to serve as president of this great nation. I've done so with an unwavering commitment, boundless energy, and a deep love for Ghana, always guided by the belief that our nation's best years lie ahead. Together we have weathered storms, celebrated victories, and laid the foundation for a brighter, more prosperous future. Reflecting on this journey, I'm filled with pride for what we have accomplished. From the transformative policies in education and healthcare, to the strides in agriculture, digitalization, energy, governance, infrastructure, industry, and trade. These achievements are not mine alone. They also belong to every Ghanaian who has contributed to the collective effort of nation building. We have demonstrated that through unity, resilience, and determination, we can overcome even the greatest challenges. I'm confident that the progress we have made will inspire future generations to dream bigger, aim higher, and achieve more for our beloved Ghana. Speaker, as I take my final bow, I do so in the certain knowledge that our nation will go from strength to strength, and that freedom and justice has taken hold forever in our body politic. The Speaker, I'm happy to hand over a Ghana that is safe, secure, united, and firmly rooted in her attachment to democratic principles and respect for the rule of law. A nation that continues to shine as a beacon of peace and stability in an often traveled Africa and an uncertain world. I leave behind a Ghana that is thriving, one that has navigated significant global challenges with remarkable tenacity, whose economy is steadily rebounding, and whose institutions are operating effectively. It's a Ghana where the youth are being empowered with opportunities to channel their energies into meaningful and productive endeavors, where the arts are beginning to flourish, and where the elderly can grow old in safety and dignity, and continue to make meaningful contributions to society. I leave behind, Mr. Speaker, a Ghana that is working. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I thank you for your attention.
on your behalf, I with all humility convey the gratitude of the Parliament of Ghana to His Excellency the President for the message. The House has heard him. Honorable members, that was just a paraphrase. It wasn't a quote. The quote is, "Menkani ye kra." I thank His Excellency the President for setting the tone for, I believe, a very, very important national discourse as to the state of the nation. And we do this with the core principle of unity in diversity. Democracy is about disagreeing to agree. And we are grateful that Ghanaians and all of you have committed yourself to this concept of multi-party democracy. I will, on your behalf, invite the leaders of the House to have a say. I have enjoyed this opportunity for many years, and I won't be the one to deny my colleagues the same opportunity. So we will start by listening to the minority front bench.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I'm grateful for the opportunity to thank His Excellency the President for the message on the state of the nation that he has just delivered. Mr. Speaker, I need to remind you that the people of Ghana have already given their verdict on the true state of the nation. And that verdict was very, very clear. Economic hardship, huge debt overhang, high youth unemployment, hopelessness, and more.
And we are thanking him for this.
We have come to the end of the road for what has been undoubtedly the worst government under the Fourth Republic. Honourable Speaker, this abysmal record was confirmed on December 7th when the people of Ghana returned the most overwhelming and emphatic vote of rejection of any government ever witnessed under the Fourth Republic. Mr. President, you will be remembered as the first president who was cushioned by the IMF when you began, and you are still being cushioned at the end of your term. Mr. President, you left something very important in your account. You left out an account of your promise to God to build him a cathedral. But Mr. President, Mr. President, I will leave that for you, between you and your God. Mr. President, let me remind His Excellency, Honourable Speaker, that his tenure in office will remain a timely reminder of how not to govern the country. But let me also be quick to assure the good people of Ghana that hope is on its way. in President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC, we can once again glean a brighter future from the throes of despair. Together we will work hard to lift ourselves from this historic low and reclaim our place, our glory as the Black Star of Africa. Once again, fellow Ghanaians, we are comforted and strengthened by the following words of scripture. And I'm quoting Exodus chapter 14, verse 13. And I quote, "And Moses said unto the people, Fear you not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, you shall see them no more." Bye-bye, Mr. President. It is finished. With that, Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much.
Honorable members, I have taken note of all those who were on their feet and what they said. But it's now time for me to invite the majority leader, the leader of the House, to have a say.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to say a few words in response to the statement on the state of the nation delivered by His Excellency the President. Mr. Speaker, this is the man who 1997 entered the Chamber of Parliament during the second Parliament of this Republic. He inspired the youth of this country through his advocacy. Hansa testified of his great work in the chamber of this House. Then, as students, we sat at the gallery to observe and to take inspiration from him. Mr. Speaker, through resilience, through firmness of conviction, he tried over and over again and made it to the presidency. Mr. Speaker, today he has fulfilled a constitutional obligation to boldly deliver for Hansa his records in office for the 8 years. Mr. Speaker, it may be that for some political expedience, we may not appreciate what he has done for this country. But, Mr. Speaker, history in its fair judgment, will state that there came an Akufo-Addo whose record in the educational sector of our country was unmatched and unequaled. Mr. Speaker, this is a man who is never afraid of challenges that confront him.
Honorable members, please, silence. Let's listen to the majority leader. Please.
Mr. Speaker, he has given us data, which data tells us the record he came to meet and the record he's leaving us with. Mr. Speaker, the Agenda 111, a very ambitious policy to revive our health sector and to provide for the needs, the health needs of the many vulnerable communities, Mr. Speaker, which is also unmatched, is there for all of us to see. Mr. Speaker, above all, this president and his government have demonstrated that they have what it takes to keep our country safe. All around us, and by virtue of my being a member of the ECOWAS Parliament, I am able to say on authority the challenges our West African neighbors face in terms of security. This country is safe and secure, and it is a haven for many West Africans who would want to invest in our country. This is a country we must be proud of. Mr. President, your country is proud of you. Democracy has experienced its best under your leadership. Today, we are being told that there's a new hope. That's no problem. It is supposed to be so. But soon, we will see the true colors of the umbrella. So, Mr. Speaker, I would want to say to my colleagues that you are yet to take over. We would be watching you for the next 4 years. And if indeed you have transformed, we will see with our naked eyes. This is a government that came into office and faced major challenge which confronted the world all over, but demonstrated resilience. This is a government that ensured that in spite of the COVID, all government sector workers were paid. This is a government that kept the lights on. This is a government that ensured that over 5.7 million Ghanaians had access to education. And Mr. Speaker, I would want to relate to this issue of free SHS. It took the grace of God for me to complete secondary education because my mom could not afford, my stepdad could not afford. It took the grace of God. And I know there were many Ghanaians who could not afford free SHS and because could not afford secondary education and had to stay at home. We know in our communities today, all those who could not get free SHS benefited from it when Akufo-Addo assumed office. Mr. Speaker, TVET was also implemented for those who are placed at the lowest ebb of fortune's wheel to also get advantage of getting technical education. This is it. This is the record that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is leaving us with, Mr. Speaker, posterity will be the utmost judge. And I repeat, soon and very soon, the Ghanaian people will see the true colors of this umbrella. I rest my case. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable members, please, let's be guided by the lessons of the wise saying that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go further, you go together. I'm sure, as honorable representatives of your people, you understand the full import of this wise saying. With this, honorable members, once again, let me thank all of you for creating a conducive environment and for assisting me to host His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana and the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We will now proceed to do what is expected of us, and that is to adjourn the sitting for today. Honorable members, the House stands adjourned till tomorrow. You don't want to come to work. Oh. Actually, we don't have time. And so I wanted you to come for us to do something tomorrow. But if you say you are available only on Monday, you prefer tomorrow. Monday. Honorable members, I get the sense of the House and will accordingly adjourn to Monday at 10 in the forenoon. The House is accordingly adjourned.
Certainly, tomorrow we're going to be hearing headlines indicating that the president said that Ghana is not broke, as some will want to put it. He's been talking extensively about the free senior high school. He says that some 5.7 million students have benefited from the free senior high school policy that he introduced in the early stages of his government. He's been talking about an improvement in the WASI results comparatively to what he inherited in 2016 when he became president. He's also been talking about Dumso, the fact that he is leaving office with the lights on. He spoke about the fact that he inherited a legacy debt of $2.5 billion in the energy sector, which is the same debt levels the incoming government is also recording. And despite that, he's managed to keep the lights on. So the President, His Excellency Akufo-Addo, will be exiting Parliament anytime soon. We see him having some hearty conversations with members of Parliament. Don't forget that he's been a member of this House before. He joined the second Parliament representing the people of Ibuakwa South. He knows the ins and outs of this particular place. He's had a lot of them, his friends. So the President will be having some conversations. There he is talking to Mr. Amabua, who was a former Minister for Petroleum under the Eswa Mahama administration there. So pictures from the floor of Parliament, Dr. Baumia, they're also exchanging pleasantries with Honorable Rashid Pelpo there. As I said, anytime soon, the President will be exiting Parliament. So His Excellency started his address by commensurating with the victims of the Kantamanto fire outbreak. It says that the situation will be assessed and some level of assistance will be given them. He's been talking about the peace he brought to Dagbon, that long-standing conflict that plagued the people of Dagbon. He says that together with the Asante Otumfo Osei, they managed to bring some peace to Dagbon. But quickly, before we leave Parliament, let me bring Augustus Akwe. Here's our parliamentary correspondent. Exactly what points was he able to pick from the President's speech? Good afternoon once again, Augustus. What will you say were the highlights of the President's statement too?
Well, in all, I feel the President's speech was more consolidatory. It was more of a rendering of account. A few instances, when it came to the amount that is left in the vaults in foreign exchange that is left in the vaults, that's when you saw him compared to what he had inherited. But in all, I feel the speech was more consolidatory, and the speech was more of a rendering of accounts for him. Unfortunately, because of time, Parliament can't do a debate on the presentation of the State of the Nation address. That's we witnessed in previous State of the Nation addresses. I feel the fact that he said was able to keep the lights on despite all the challenges, and the fact that when it came to the domestic debt exchange program and all that, jobs weren't lost and all that's also a good point.
Right. Of course, he's been talking about the Ghanaian economy, and he says that Ghana is not broke. He's been referring to our foreign reserves, $8 billion. He's also been talking about the growth we've seen in the first 3 quarters of the year. Even though inflation still at 23%, which he acknowledges. He says that the figure has trended down from 54% somewhere in 2022. Now we're doing 23%, even though it's way off the target of government of 15%. I mean, he's acknowledged that. He's also been talking about the fact that we have the money to pay coupon for our international creditors. But quickly, let me talk to Mr. Emmanuel Akwete, who is also been monitoring the whole process here in Parliament before he leaves us. Good afternoon to you, sir. What will you say are your impressions about the President's statement?
Well, it's a farewell statement, well balanced and well received by the House.
Right. So what were the key highlights for you?
I think for me the key highlight, that's why I said it's well balanced. He told where progress had been made that could be built on by the incoming government. He also admitted the challenges. And I think that in putting this together in a way that wasn't so partisan, really exhibited his role as father of the nation, commander-in-chief, and he's exiting. And I think the way he handled it and looking at the response shows that, yes, he's observed, the important role that he played for the nation and not just his party. I didn't see too much of the partisan thing, praise and condemnation of opposition. And I think it's a good way of saying goodbye to Ghana for the leadership given to him. And I think it was well applauded by all.
Before I let you go, he said emphatically that Ghana is not broke. I mean, you are a statesman and you know the state of play. Will you agree with him?
Well, I think in November last year when Ghana appeared broke, he made that statement and how he struggled to resolve the issues. If at the end of the day the situation has been turned around and you compare it to the previous year, then I think that they've worked hard. It's good to know that Ghana is not broke because it says the economy has recovered and is recovering strongly. And in that case, I think that he should leave office so that the new government can take it to the next level. So it's a good message to the nation. I do not think that he has statistics to back what he was saying. And I believe that it's not the end of the story, but the foundation on which the new government that the people have chosen would build.
Right. You also talk about how the fight against Galamsey affected the parliamentary fortunes of his party in the 2020 elections. That should be a little bit partisan.
Well, I think he's open up to that, and probably that also contributed immensely to the heavy loss in the elections. But he's leaving and he's admitted to certain things, but he's also said, look, we've recovered. It doesn't mean we do not have any more problems, but it's a foundation. It's a foundational statement, that which the next president and his party should build on in the interest of every Ghanaian. And I think it's a commendable speech.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how will you rate the president?
I don't rate. My challenge of rating is that he's leaving office. He has rated himself from the statement, what they've done well, what they didn't do well. The challenge is now for the new government to take it forward.